OPB's class of 2025 is all about the students and their stories.
Doing what I need to do to get to a better place, get myself in a better place.
I didn't really think about college until like the end of junior year.
Getting to my goals, I feel like I can definitely do.
I felt like that was my breaking point when I realized my dad was lost.
What feels like a full lifetime ago, we decided to document the stories of a kindergarten class on their journey all the way through high school. Because in 2012, the state declared an ambitious goal.
2025 is the year we've set to have 100% high school graduation in the state of Oregon.
So why not follow a group of kids just starting out toward that goal to find out what it's like to grow up in the Oregon education system and witness all the other life experiences that make us who we are as we grow. We have done that, and you can listen to our previous episodes to hear how that goal did not play out. But before we end this 13-year project, we want to highlight the unsung heroes we've met along the way, the parents and guardians of these students.
I'm Casey, and I'm Rayshawn's mother.
Sharnessa, no age, you know what I'm saying? I'm just a mom.
My name is Kelly. I'm Kaylee's dad.
From the Gert Boyle studio, I'm Jen Chavez, and this is The Evergreen, a podcast from OPB about the place you call home. All of our years of reporting on the class of 2025 have underlined, highlighted, and circled with a red marker the importance of having some kind of family involvement in your education. So today, the class of 2025 Parents Edition. Education reporter Elizabeth Miller has been following the class of 2025 for years, getting to know not only the students, but also their parents and guardians. She says their stories are interesting too, and so relevant to our students' experiences and relationship to school. Like the story of Josh's mom, Sharnessa, who was the school president when she was in high school.
It was amazing to see that she, did that there.
Do you want to be student body president?
Student body president's kind of a leader, and I like to be a leader, so that's a thought too, just like my mom did, so.
Liz, welcome back to The Evergreen. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Jen. Thanks for having me.
So we just heard from Josh. His mom is Sharnessa, and it is so clear that she's had such a huge impact on him growing up, which I'm sure is the case for so many of the parents in this project. So, Liz, what has it been like to witness parents and students' relationships like Sharnessa's and Josh's as they've grown?
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been like, we've had a front seat to see these kids grow up, but then we're also seeing the relationships between them and their parents change over time from being like the parent-child, you do your homework thing to kind of seeing more of that like trust that gets built and the mutual confidence that like the student's going to do what they need to do and the parent's going to be there to support them no matter what.
So they're like, becoming a little like adult.
Yes,
able to like talk, have like real people conversations. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, definitely, Jen. Like this conversation we captured between Sharnessa and Josh at his 8th grade parade, where Sharnessa is kind of asking Josh, like, how are things going to be in high school?
How do you feel like you're going to navigate through those situations like if you see a school fight or kids?
Just stay away from that, I'm not trying to be that student to get into everything. I'm just going to stay away from that and just be the best student. I can be a student athlete that I want to be and just not ruin my career by, getting involved with stupid stuff like violence and stuff.
So we do a lot of interviews with these families, right? And there's a lot of conversations that me or my editor, Rob Manning, has with the students and their parents that don't make it into a story or an Evergreen episode or a documentary. Like this part of an interview with Jason and his parents, Tara and Jay. So for years, Jason has wanted to be a paleontologist. And so we talked to him last fall, and he said his mindset changed and he didn't want to do that anymore. Part of the reason was that he thought his parents, including his dad, Jay, wanted him to be a paleontologist.
We were encouraging him to continue with the paleontology and thinking that that's what he was wanting to do. And he was convincing himself to continue doing that, thinking that's what we were encouraging him to do, So it was kind of stuck there without that middle communication.
Jason's mom, Tara, says his interest in school declined too.
I saw a difference in that when he decided that he was no longer interested in paleontology and he didn't necessarily have a goal that he was focusing on. Before it was, he always told me, keep reminding me of my goal so I keep my grades up.
Now I don't really know what I want to do, so that kind of sucks.
That's Jason.
I like having a goal, but I can't think of a goal.
I advised him, I let him know, you don't have to have a path. You don't have to have a goal. You're a kid right now. You have your whole life to make a decision.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And Liz, you've met so many parents along the way, and they all have their own unique stories when it comes to education. For example, many of the parents in the class of 2025 project didn't graduate with their high school class, but got a GED. And they want their kids to do differently than them. Can you tell us a little bit more about those parents?
Yeah, so there are several parents, like you said, that got a GED that had kind of a challenging relationship with high school, which has been really interesting to learn about, especially seeing how their kids have a relationship to high school. So I think one example is Rayshawn. So Rayshawn is at an alternative school. He didn't start out at an alternative school. He went there freshman year after he got suspended from David Douglas. And his parents also went to alternative schools.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so they wanted this high school experience for him that was unlike theirs. They wanted him to be on the football team, him to be going to prom, him to do all these things. But he didn't like the football team. He didn't like being a part of it. And he ended up wanting something very different. And they realized, over his high school, wow, this is what works for him. And it's very important in their family that Rayshawn completes high school. His mom, Casey, really drove that home to me.
It's almost mandatory for us that he completes school or gets his GED, but now he's already to the point he's graduating. I mean, he's already ahead. He'll be graduating early, so that is a very high-held expectation.
The reason why they have those expectations is because they didn't have the same opportunities that they're giving him. And so I think Rayshawn's mom, Casey, really wants him to learn from them and see what they've done.
I want him to take away from us and how we live our life is how hard we work. And that no matter whatever struggles, anything he's seen us go through, you can get past it, no matter what. He's starting to get it that no matter what struggles, I can be like my parents. I can own businesses. I can, own a home and all these things, because we didn't have those things 10, 15 years ago. We didn't have much of anything.
Another mom in the project is Josette. She doesn't want her daughter, Anais, to get a GED.
I myself got my GED instead of getting the diploma. I was 4 credits short from getting a high school diploma, and I do regret not getting that. But I do think it's important that she gets her high school diploma. Her other 4 siblings have GEDs, so I want her to have her diploma.
She really sees a difference between having a GED and a traditional diploma.
People look down on people that have a GED. They feel they're not going to be successful. So I want her to have her diploma.
So we're talking about parents' high school experiences. Something else you saw with these parents was when it comes to these students applying to college, it can be a huge learning curve, especially for parents and guardians who didn't get the chance to go to college themselves. So now everyone is learning how to apply to FAFSA or room and board for the first time, these parents along with their kids. Did you experience what this process is like for those families?
Jen, I experienced it firsthand.
Oh my goodness.
And it brought me back. I don't know if you filled out the FAFSA, but
yes.
I did. And it was
a lot. It was a lot.
And honestly, not much has changed. So I went back in January. The high school that several of these students go to, David Douglas, held a FAFSA night to help families get over this and do this together with support. I sat down with Anais and Josette as they filled it out.
So do you have your password set up and everything? That's your password? Okay, cool. Now
I didn't put that as my password though.
My audio recording from that night is almost an hour and a half, if that gives you a sense of like
oh my gosh, it does.
How long everything took.
Wow.
Can we play some Jeopardy music?
It was a busy evening. There were 2 separate rooms, one for, families that only spoke Spanish, one for families that spoke English, so there was a lot of support there. Another student I ran into that night was Ava. Her parents didn't graduate from high school either.
Are you the first in the family to go to school or to graduate?
That's Kimberly Hermans, who works at the Career Center at David Douglas, talking to April, Ava's mom.
It's intimidating. And I'm really scared for her to get more student debt than she can handle. Like, it makes me really nervous.
Again, it also felt very intimidating. I didn't know how many steps there were, and it was kind of overwhelming at first, but now that I got it done, I feel like this big wave of relief.
Ooh, yes, I remember all those steps and that very specific wave of relief. Y'all are taking me back to FAFSA time. What have you noticed from the parents who come from this background? Like, how has that affected not only their experience applying to college, but what they want for their kids and their futures?
I think there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of possibility that these families feel for their kids. Like, it's that whole thing where it's like you want better for your children. I feel like I see this, with my own family and my own life is that, and for a lot of people, higher education or even just a high school diploma like opens up a new world that a lot of families maybe didn't have access to when they were growing up.
Coming up after a short break, the parents who showed their kids it's never too late to educate yourself. Thanks for listening to The Evergreen, our podcast from OPB about the place you call home. If you dig what you hear, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app, and we'll brighten your Monday morning a little bit with something new and exciting to listen to each week. You can also follow OPB on Instagram at OPB Photo, or follow me directly at Jen Chavez OPB. That's Jen with 2 N's. And I will keep you posted on everything Team Evergreen is up to. And remember, this episode about the class of 2025 parents and all the great OPB reporting and storytelling you hear on this show, including the kind that spans over a decade, is made possible by the support of many thousands of OPB members. Y'all are truly in it with us for the long haul. Support our journalism by becoming an OPB sustaining member today at opb.org/pod. And now, back to the show. So, Liz, there's also the parents who got their GED later on in life, kind of to show their kids they can do it, no matter the challenges they face along the way. Let's start with Sam and his dad, Rodger. What's their story?
Yeah, so Sam and Rodger, they actually live in Springfield. So they're one of the families that we kind of have to travel down to see. And my editor, Rob Manning, is usually the one that goes to see them, but I finally got to meet them last summer. And they're so fun together. They're just like, bouncing off of each other, very bubbly. Sam works on his TV news station at school. So that's always really cool. So it was just really great getting to know them and getting to know how Sam has kind of gotten through some tough high school years. Coming out of COVID, his freshman year of high school, things were really hard for him and he failed a lot of classes. And so he had to make those up and he turned it around, and it's just been a great story to kind of watch from him. But then I also got to ask Rodger, his dad, what his journey was like. And that was pretty eye-opening because he's been on his own since he was 17. And so high school wasn't his main priority.
But I did go back and get my GED and did really good at that as well. So I was proud about that. I waited 12 years until I was 30, or 13 years, but I did it, and I did it to show them that it's never too late to follow through and finish that goal.
That's so true, and it's something that I feel like encapsulates this project because all of these families and all of these students and all of their adults that love them have unique stories that kind of helped them get to where they are.
My story is a little different, and I think that's why I don't push him in any one direction on what he's supposed to do. Is I want him to be able to kind of live a childhood and have, something and not that pressure and stress. There's been enough things gone on in our lives that, take away from your childhood, so.
And then there's Austin. And to be clear, this is a different Austin than the Austin we met a couple weeks ago on our first episode in this series, Austin C. Who is Austin C. and what are his parents like?
Yeah, and fun fact, Austin C. and Sam were best friends in kindergarten before Sam moved away. And we have a whole story about them moving away from each other. And they reunited last month at our event for the families. And it was so cute. I have a picture. It was great. But Austin is one of the 2025 students who's been back and forth between online school and in-person school. He's a really kind kid and has long been interested in helping people. He's been working at a sister's care home for a while now. And Austin's parents, they have owned businesses in the past. His mom now drives the school bus for David Douglas. And when I asked them, Austin's parents, about their high school experiences, Austin's dad, Bruce, told me that he didn't graduate high school.
Until later in life, as adults with kids and as a business owner, my oldest daughter was a junior in high school when I decided that it would probably be wise for me to further my education.
Amber, Austin's mom, didn't finish high school either. Her story is pretty interesting.
So I came here when I was 17 from Baker City, and
gosh, long drive.
Yeah, I was ending my sophomore year, and I signed up to go to high school at David Douglas. I went one day, never went back, because the culture shock was so huge, because I came from a really small town where there was maybe 600 students in the entire school to a giant school, and I couldn't wrap my head around it.
After that, she tried an alternative school, actually the same one that Rayshawn's mom went to. It's funny, all these stories are connected. But that wasn't really a good fit for her either. Then she met Bruce, they got married, they had kids, and so when he went back to school to get his GED, she did too. Bruce and Amber also took some college classes. They had already owned a business at that point, but they wanted to be able to understand what college might be like for their kids.
My kids were starting to enter a phase of their lives that I didn't know nothing about. I couldn't give them any guidance, any wisdom, any help even in what to do next if I hadn't experienced it yet myself. So I thought it was time that I took that walk before trying to lead them down that path,
I mean, what a powerful thing to want to do for your kid. And, another thing you've seen is students who want to graduate because their parents never got the chance to. One of these students is Kaylee.
I don't want to move up to 4th grade.
How come?
I don't want to grow up.
Oh.
I still want to be a kid forever.
I'm just really excited to graduate and sleep in.
That's Kaylee through the years. What is her relationship with her parents, and how did their education impact her path toward graduation?
Yeah, Kaylee's story is super interesting. So she has always, been with her mom. Her and her mom are so tight. They're like this, and I'm crossing my fingers when I say that.
I feel like me and my mom have really gotten a lot closer. I call her with any problems that I have, even if my stomach's hurting a little bit, I call her and I tell her. And I feel like it's made us a lot closer, especially because now any free time that I have or she has, we're spending time together.
And Kaylee has long wanted to graduate high school because of her mom and because her mom didn't. And so they've got a really special relationship, and her mom is really proud of her that Kaylee's kind of overcome all the things that she's had to deal with. But then in high school, in junior year, Kaylee moved in with her dad in Estacada, which is a while away from Portland. And so part of the reason for that was for Kaylee to catch back up in school and to get her grades up, because at that point they weren't, it wasn't going well for her. And so she moved in with her dad, and her dad really pushed her to really get back on track. He was checking on her grades every day. And part of his reason for that was because he didn't graduate high school.
I got my GED. I'm not pushing her to graduate. Like, I'm not against it either. It's whatever she wants. Like, if she tells me she wants to graduate, then I'm going to, as her parent, it's my job to hold her to that. Like, to give her every opportunity to succeed at that.
So Kaylee did turn things around, and now she's back in Portland and living with her mom, and she graduated.
Amazing. Congrats, Kaylee. So, Liz, the class of 2025 is all grown up now. They are 18, and most just graduated. Liz, what was it like to see the students graduate? And, like, what was their reaction from their parents on grad night?
I would actually say my favorite part of the night was seeing the parents' reactions to their kids graduating. So this was at the University of Portland Child Center. It was inside. Hot. Sweat was sweating. And just like so many people there. It's so joyous to like go to a graduation and just see everybody clap and scream. And a lot of screaming. Almost too much screaming. But
you got their fan the fan section. I love it.
That's
I love
true.
that vibe.
Just bad for my audio. But it was really fun. So at graduation, I'm up in the like sound booth with the engineers trying to get audio. And so I see all of these families across this giant like auditorium.
Oh my God, you have like a bird's eye view?
Yes, it was amazing.
Wow.
And so, it was so fun. And so, like, across the way, I see Josh's mom, Sharnissa, who we heard from earlier, and she was waving this red scarf because she is so far from the stage. So she wanted to make sure Josh could see her. And then, you know, several rows in front of her is Kaylee's mom, Alicia, just crying. I just see, like, she's like a little speck, but I can see that she's obviously crying because she's wiping her face. And then over on my, like, right, I see Josette, Anaisa's mom, and she's also crying. So it was just, everyone's crying. Everyone's happy. It's graduation.
Oh, so emotional.
It was. And then afterwards, I got to check in with Ava very briefly, and her mom and her dad and her brother were all there. And her mom was just so proud of Ava and her friend and just like, woo, you did it. It was great.
Hi, I'm Ava, and I graduated! Woo!
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you for regaling us with the joy of graduation.
Yes.
Sweaty joy.
So sweaty.
And Liz, you've personally been following the class of 2025 for about 6-ish years now, since they were in 6th grade. And your editor, Rob Manning, has been there since they were in kindergarten, which is so wild to me. This is you following the students on their first day of high school.
So you got your name tag?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Actually pretty good and nervous too at the same time.
And this is you on senior grad walk day, a day where they go back to visit middle school.
This is amazing!
Or you following students on graduation day.
Congratulations, how do you feel?
Very good.
You did it! All right.
At such just like pivotal time, how are you feeling now that the class of 2025 project is basically over? I know that's a very difficult question to answer, but like, how are you feeling, Liz?
I think I'm just feeling happy and proud. Like, I was just at a graduation, and I like when the student's name was called, it was Austin N., who you guys met in episode 1 of this series. I went up to take a picture of him walking across the stage, and I was so excited. I was like beaming as I took this picture. So I don't know. It's just really exciting thing to be able to see this project all the way through and to see these students and to be able to share their stories and to have been a part of their lives and to have shared their lives. I'm a little sad. It hasn't hit me yet. I'm still like trying to go to graduations and get things done and report and stuff. So it's not like I'm completely done with the project, but this phase of it is over. And there's a sense of like finality there, which feels good. We made it. They made it.
They made it.
We're all going to be okay.
We are all going to be okay. I've noticed that in some of the interviews we've been hearing, in these recent episodes that you're kind of asking students, like, this might be our last interview with you.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? So now, Elizabeth Miller, I'm turning the tables. Do you have any last words in what may be your last interview about this, with us at least, on what this project has meant to you and meeting all of these wonderful students and also their parents and their guardians and their family members?
It's meant a lot to me. It's been really special. It's been really hard trying to keep track of everybody, trying to, make sure people answer your calls, trying to ask hard questions of young people. But one thing that we've heard from more than one set of parents is that being a part of the project helped their students graduate. And I think that's super, I didn't expect it. And I don't think Rob expected it either. Like, we were at graduation and literally Josh's dad told Rob, like, you helped. You being there, asking those questions, like, you got our student to graduate. Anaisa's mom, Osvaldo's parents, like, they all said that. And that's something that I think is really, this project helped motivate them to go to school and do well. But it's been really unique. I don't think any media organization has ever attempted a project like this. And so to be the folks who get to do it and not only say we're going to do it, we did it.
Yes.
And that's pretty cool. I've been really grateful to be able to see, these students kind of go through school and overcome some really challenging life experiences that, I've never experienced and a lot of young people haven't had to deal with. But they've come out on the other side of it. They are going to be okay. The kids are all right. And I'm really proud of all of them, even if they didn't, get to that high school graduation stage. The other thing that I keep driving home is this isn't the end of their story. They have whole lives that are not going to be documented by OPB. But they have whole lives. This is just one step. There was a speaker at one of the graduations, one of the students, who said high school is rehearsal for adulthood. And I love that because it is rehearsal. The whole show starts now. And again, we will not be there to document it.
I am feeling just very inspired by this as we talk about it after all of this time. And I hope you and Rob and everyone who worked on this knows how powerful this project ended up being for these students and for everyone listening. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much for listening to our 3-part series on OPB's Class of 2025 project. You can find links to all of OPB's coverage of Class of 2025, including podcast episodes just like this one, in our show notes. Mia Estrada produced this episode, and our technical director is Stephen Cray. The OPB podcast team also includes Julie Sabatier and Sage Van Wing. Elizabeth Miller and Rob Manning did the interviews you heard. The music in this episode is from Audio Network. And hey, if you have a question for us, please don't forget you can reach out. Email theevergreen@opb.org. I'm Jen Chavez. Catch you later.